Hello and welcome. I'm your host, author Ryan M. Oliver, and this is the Mighty Books Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Books Podcast. Today with me, our featured author is Miss Becky Bell. Becky, how are you today?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So we're here to talk about your book. What is the title of your book?
It is The Gnomes of Fibberton.
The Gnomes of Fibberton. I love the cover, by the way. It's very playful. What is the Gnomes of Fibberton about? Can you talk to us about it?
So, The Gnomes of Fibberton, the brief rundown that I usually give when somebody asks me, every child is born with a secret number of fibs they can tell before the Gnomes of Fibberton come and take them to live in Fibberton, where they have to do all the chores kids have lied and said they did but never did, and they have to eat all the vegetables kids lied and said they ate but never ate. And in the middle of the book, there is a QR code. It's probably around page, nah, it's more in the beginning, page 6 or 7. And the QR code goes to a little music video of the gnomes singing, and the book's a sing along in the middle. So
That is really
it's
cool.
fun.
So, yeah, what gave you the idea to use a QR code for some music? Because that's a nice and interactive touch.
So the idea came from there's a Sandra Boynton book. I love reading Sandra Boynton board books to my kids.
Oh, okay.
Um, and well, I have a huge collection of her books. And one of them is called The Bunny Rabbit Show. And if you go on YouTube, there's a Bunny Rabbit Show song that somebody did, and it's not Sandra Boynton, but it's a cover of the book, The Bunny Rabbit Show,
Oh,
in
okay.
song, and my kids love it. Every time we go to read a book, my kids would always ask for The Bunny Rabbit Show because they wanted me to play the video on my
Yeah.
book so they could follow along. So that's actually kind of where I got the idea,
Awesome.
because Sandra Boynton, she didn't even make the song, and I was like, well, we could make a song, put it in the book, so everyone knows about it.
That's cool.
Everyone can have access to it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where I got the idea because my kids loved it so much. I knew, you know,
Yeah.
kids would
Yeah.
love it. So
Yeah. When you have a very honest audience like children saying that they love something, they're
mhm.
usually not lying about it. They're not fibbing in this case. They're telling the God honest truth.
Indeed.
Now, what
Yeah.
drove you to write The Gnomes of Hibberton? What was the inspiration behind the idea? What's the story there?
So I liken it to kind of like a Grimm's fairy tale or Aesop's fable kind of book,
Yeah.
where it's not lacking in substance or there's a consequence at the end, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'm a homeschool mom. I always want everything to be educational for
Yeah.
my kids. So the story gets the topic of honesty on kids' minds, and it gets the topic in the home. It gets them thinking about it. So that was kind of why I wrote it down. I had come up with the story um, talking to like 10 years ago, actually, before I even had children. I was telling my niece she was lying, and it was
Uh,
Christmas. She was lying about something, and it just popped into my head to say, there are little gnomes, and they're all
oh,
over the
that's
place, and they're
funny.
listening to you. And so that's where the idea originally came from. But the idea to really write it down was because I would share this story with my own children, with their friends, and they would start playing games based on the gnomes of Iberton. And they would pretend like the gnomes were listening to them, and
No
um,
way.
they just say the funniest stuff to each other. Like I had two kids playing in my backyard one time after we told the story to them. They're brother and sister, they're neighbor kids.
Hmm.
And the boy said to his sister, I don't want to go to Fibberton. I'm going to tell you the truth. you really are ugly. And it was not a nice thing to say, but
No.
it just gets their imagination going, and it makes them start playing games and start being creative. And I love watching kids get creative and use their imaginations.
Yeah, it
So
is so fun to watch that.
yeah,
Their
seeing
imaginations
that the
just
story.
bloom.
Oh yeah, seeing that it actually perked their imaginations too is what I was like. Okay, I've got something here with the
Yeah.
story
Oh,
because the kids like it.
100%. Yeah, yeah. So did they help with like the imagining of, I mean, it sounds like they kind of already did, but as you were creating the story, did you run it by them? Because I mean, they are going to be your audience. It's a picture book. Did you run it by them?
Right.
They're the ones living in
Oh,
Fibberton at this point. They're pretending to live in
oh, for
Fibberton.
sure. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. We would, yeah, I would go over the stories with them and everything, and I would talk about it to them. And really, what what they kind of inspired too, my own kids, was the details, um, where I was like, okay, let me relate. I'm going to make like a Grimm's fairy tale, but I'm going to relate it to kids nowadays.
Yeah.
So in Fibberton, the place where they have to go when they fib too much, they have to do all the chores.
Yes.
They lied and said
Yeah.
that they would never. They don't ever get dessert again. They have
Oh.
to eat vegetables, right? So all the toys are broken, all the chairs are broken. It's hot and sweaty, and it's like it's miserable and intemperate, the climate. And that was inspired by the kids though, that the toys were all broken
Yeah, yeah.
and particular.
Now, so
And
yeah. Oh, so go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say I've had parents that have said it was the cutest thing. This one child, when they found out that the gnomes have to do all the chores,
Hmm.
kids lied and said they did, but never did. When they found that out, they said to their mom at the end of the book, they're like, "Did you must have lied a lot because you do a lot of chores, mommy."
Oh, I love how kids think. That makes me so happy. Oh,
They say
yes.
the funniest stuff.
Yep, didn't I avoided a lot of that. I avoided a lot of those.
Yeah.
Hey everyone. Thank you for making it this far into the interview. Hope you're loving it. I just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about a gift for you all. A free book just waiting to be read. Just visit ryanmoliver.com and hit the button to receive a free book. It's that easy. Also, consider signing up for the newsletter, where each month you'll receive more fun reading to enjoy. That's ryanmoliver.com. ryanmoliver.com. Now, talk to me about your illustrator and your illustrations. Where did you get what was the working relationship with that and development of your picture book?
So I went to Fiverr
Okay.
for
Nice.
for most of my but the illustrations and the I had a different person. I found an illustrator that did videos, that did the
Oh,
music video and the cartoon.
that's what I
I
was going
had
to
a
ask too.
different
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a different person sing the song, and then a different person make the video for it in the
Yeah.
book. And then I found my illustrator for the book on Fiverr as well. He lives in India.
Oh,
His
cool.
name is Adil. His name's Adil Khan. He is awesome,
Yeah.
really hardworking guy. And I'm sure I'm going to stick with him for the rest of the series of books
Hmm.
that I have ideas for because
Oh,
we work really well together. He's really cool.
yeah. I love when you can find someone who's hardworking, has good quality work, and is easy to work with. You're assembling your team as it is, which is good. It makes it
Yeah.
easier to make other ones later. Then you don't have to go hunting and
Yeah.
finding for people.
Right. Well, I went through like two different illustrators before I even found him.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they did like 10%. One of them did like 80% of the book and then disappeared. And then
Oh,
another one did like
geez.
10% of the book and was like, I'm having health problems and I can't do it anymore. And we're like, okay. So you can't do anything with that art though, because if
No.
they, I need the art to match.
Yeah.
So we finally found a deal. It all worked out for the best because his artwork really was probably a little friendlier than the initial artwork. His is like brighter.
It is.
One of the artists I had used before was a little dark, but it was kind of a dark tale. So I was
Okay.
going with that at first, and I'm like, oh, maybe we should go lighter anyway, since this person disappeared.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you say kind of, it's kind of based, fairy tales are based off of the Grimm and the Aesop's fable. And if you look back at them, they're not exactly the most cheery, chipper. They're supposed to teach a lesson, have a moral to the story. And generally, some of
Right.
those morals are hard learned. If you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what was it like? Hansel and Gretel was not, it was a lot worse off than it was. A bunch of other ones were very dark and a little twisted at times. So we've kind of made it a little more friendlier for our kids and heck ourselves to enjoy them along the way.
Right.
Yeah. So aside from, I know obviously it's teaching honesty with kids, but any other moral to stories, lessons you put into the Gnomes of Fibberton?
Really, it kind of, I was going at instilling a little bit of integrity,
Yeah,
um, which kind of goes in line with honesty,
it does a little
a
bit.
lot of the time. But really integrity because like the thought that there are little tiny gnomes all over and you never know where they're going to be or when they're,
Yeah.
when they could catch you, so to
Yeah.
speak, can kind of make a kid work on their integrity a little bit, right? Make them think I could be watched anytime, so
Uh-huh.
maybe
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 I
I need
should
to.
maybe I should stop at this stop sign before I cross, even though there's no one here. Maybe I should do my laundry even though no one's pushing me to do it, or little stuff like that. But that'll hopefully translate to them being good members of society, getting things
Right.
done, maintaining a clean, nice, organized household. In the future because it starts small. I mean, it's throwing things away, cleaning up after yourself, all those things we try to teach our kids. Some learn easier than others. I'm sure you
Yeah.
deal with that with your kids. My two, one is better than the other one. One is very forgetful, maybe on purpose. I don't really know, but yeah, I should tell
Yeah.
them that there's gnomes around. You get to clean up all after yourself, or gnomes are gonna come take you to Fibberton.
Right.
Yeah. That's amazing. So what feedback have you gotten so far from the Gnomes of Fibberton?
Oh, I've gotten funny stuff. So I got the one where the little
Yeah.
girl was like, she found out they do chores and she's like, "Oh, mommy, you must have lied a
Must do
lot."
chores,
And
which is
another
great.
one, I got one where they just said their daughter started confessing things at the end of the book. When they finished it, she just started like telling them all these things she had lied about, and they had no idea that she was actually even lying. So she just
Wow.
started confessing a bunch of stuff. Um, those are the funny ones that I've gotten.
I
Other than
love
that,
it.
I've got pretty good reviews on the
That's
book.
great. That's
Yeah, it's pretty
great.
fun.
Oh man. Have you gone and done any like in-person reads or author reads with the book at all? Read to like the kids in schools or libraries or stuff like that, or planning on to maybe?
Yeah, I've actually gone to a few different libraries and read it. I've gone to
Fabulous.
some moms clubs,
Oh, cool.
and some homeschool groups because I'm
Nice.
a homeschool mom.
Yes.
So I actually used my own local homeschool group, which has like I think it's about 90 kids in it, and I read
Whoa.
it to them. Yeah,
Really?
we've got
Dang,
a
90.
huge
Wow.
group. Hmm.
Where do you guys get together to meet? Do you guys go to libraries or like community centers, or where you guys going that can fit that many people?
Yeah, well
My
typically we
living
end
room.
up having to go to like a playground
Oh, okay. Okay.
outside. But
Yeah.
there's a community center too if we need to meet indoors,
Yeah.
for an indoor kind of activity, or we'll
Yeah.
do destination field trips. Not all
Cool.
90 kids go to every event. So,
Fair enough.
and
Fair
they
enough.
set up RSVPs. So if we find out, once you find out how many are coming, then you can
Okay. Well, that
decide
makes
where to
sense.
go.
Wasn't sure if it was like
Yeah.
all right, an all call assembly, everyone come on in. That was where my
Yeah.
mind was going. That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
It was fun. It was fun reading to them though, because
Oh, I'm sure.
I love homeschool kids. The homeschool kids are not afraid to interrupt you. So they're a different audience than kids that go to regular school. Because in regular school, kids are kind of taught you got to raise your hand, and homeschool kids aren't really taught to raise their hands that much. So
No.
and they aren't very afraid of authority either or anything. So they will like interrupt you. So it was fun. I got through the book
Well,
somehow.
that's good. That's good.
Lots of questions throughout the book.
Yeah.
But
Do oh, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. It's probably hard to kind of maintain that flow when you're reading it. I bet you too. But people have
it
so
can.
many questions. Yeah. And they
Yeah.
probably had ideas afterwards too. Like, so
Oh
that's
yeah.
another question is, the Gnomes of Fibberton, I'm sure will have more iterations. So what does any future
Yeah.
installments, any plans for those?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've
Nice.
got five total, right,
Yeah.
including the first Rooms of Fibberton.
Five total.
The
Nice.
next one, yeah, the Tunnel of Truth, which is basically the sequel to
Okay.
Gnomes of Fibberton, where gnomes, kids that have been turned into gnomes that are down in Fibberton can get out of Fibberton if they tell the truth. And in order, you have to go through the Tunnel of Truth, tell the truth, which is really hard
It is.
to tell the truth. And there's a lot of consequences with telling the truth. And you have to kind of, own up to whatever you've lied about.
Yeah.
So it's kind of going to be like a journey of how it's difficult for them to get to the tunnel of truth. But once they do, they can go back to their families and live normal, you know, little lives.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the sequel that I'm planning on doing. I loosely have a couple other, Too Many Tall Tales is going to be another one where there's a
Hmm.
girl who just tells like, outlandish kind of stories where like she says she can lift up a car and she found buried treasure and she was abducted by aliens and that's how she ends up in Fibberton.
Yes. So it's like a microscope on one particular person and how they ended up in
Right.
Fibberton.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. You could
And then
to
it
follow
yeah.
their trail down to where they go.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I have one other like that that's the boy who didn't do it.
Hmm.
Right? Because that's like the oldest line in the book. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I don't know. I didn't do it. So there's going to be a book about that boy.
Yeah.
And then the fifth one I have is the Christmas book. And I am so excited about this one because the gnomes of Fibberton, they're not those nice, happy little elves that get to wrap gifts and like make toys. They have to deal solely with the naughty department. And they work for the Department of Naughty.
Oh
So
no. Yes.
So at the Fib Investigation Bureau, kind of like the FBI, but the FIB. So, and there's like going to be like the
Oh
the 10 most
yes.
wanted fibbers on the board. So
Oh, you could play
it'll
with
be cute.
so much of that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, you could have it almost like the nice area and then underscore under beneath them and like the lower basement that's just decrepit and awful and full of
Yeah.
toilets that never get cleaned or something weird like that. I mean, I don't know. You can make up so many things. It's magic, right? You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yes, please.
Lots of good ideas. And so I love the Christmas book so much. This is what's like making me stall in my creative process. I was going to do the sequel next, Tunnel of Truth, but the Christmas idea is so much fun that I'm having a hard time getting my creativity and my focus back to doing a sequel
Oh
because I
yeah.
really kind of want to do the Christmas book.
I mean, you can do both. I know it's hard I'm trying
Yeah,
to
it's
focus on
hard
the
to focus.
yeah, I know I'm focusing on the word focus this year to try to get more done because I have the same problem you do where I have this is the next iteration. However, I have a really fun idea over here that is not
Yeah.
related to anything I'm doing. In your case, yours is, but that's a challenge. So how do you combat how do you combat those really good ideas for what you're supposed to do? Do you have like a system you're trying to a reward system for yourself or what are you trying to how are you trying to accomplish these things?
I need to do that. That would be, I don't really have
An
that
ideal.
great of a system. I do try to use storyboards for these,
Oh,
though.
okay. Oh,
This is something I figured out for children's books that really
yeah.
like when I wrote the first one, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I actually bought a blank, you can buy blank books
Mhm.
on Amazon, like
Yeah.
like by the dozen, and I bought them for my children to draw
Nice.
and make books. And
Fabulous.
I was like, oh, I can use this. And I like used that to write the first Gnomes of Fibberton.
That's
And I like
excellent.
had typed it up and put it on the pages, and then I drew little sketches. But I realized I was like, oh, I could actually just do this on the computer
Mhm.
and make a storyboard for it,
Yeah.
so to speak. And that can help the illustrator too more. My sketches are terrible. So,
I don't know many authors who are also good at drawing stuff. That's pretty rare. I don't usually
yeah,
find those people. Yeah, people who can draw can also write, but not necessarily the other way around. My sketches look
yeah,
like garbage. There's just no way. There's no way. That's why we have folks like your illustrator to help you out. But
yeah,
the storyboarding makes sense though. I mean, I'll do that with my stories to a point. I write novels, but it's still
okay,
having some kind of a map to show you what's going to happen
yeah,
is where you need to go, especially with storybooks. I mean, like
yeah.
how long did it take you to sketch out and plan the first book?
From writing it down the first time to actually getting like the PDF
Yeah.
ready for the printers, it was well, I did the song too. So
Yeah, you did.
it might have made it take longer. It took about a year
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
from writing it down to PDF because of the
Yeah.
song, I think, too. Because the
Okay.
song was like a big deal and it took
That's what I wanted to ask you
few
about
months.
too. I know you kind of skimmed over or skimmed on it or talked about
Mhm.
the song a bit. How did you go about creating the song? Did you guys write it or did you find someone to just write it and here was like, here's your idea and they ran with it? What was the process with that?
So I came up with it. I came
Yeah.
up with the jingle. And I cannot sing either. So I can't draw, I
Sure
can't
you
sing.
can.
But
Can.
that's what gnomes of Fibberton do. That's
Yeah.
the song,
Oh,
right? So
nice. You got the lyric.
and
Yeah.
it, and they, okay, so it goes, that's what gnomes of Fibberton do. Mopping the floors and scraping up goo. That's what gnomes of Fibberton do. Washing
Awesome.
the dishes until they look new. That's what gnomes of Fibberton do. And
Fabulous.
it is super catchy. But anyway, I recorded like a little snippet, and I made like I got all the words. It's about a minute and a half.
Perfect.
No, it's and maybe a minute. I sent the snippet to someone I found on Fiverr. I
Yeah.
thought that it should be sung in like this deep crooner voice. So I found someone who has like this low
Yeah.
voice,
Yeah.
and he sang it, and it's so much better than what I did.
Kind of a
So much better,
dreary.
and it's so catchy.
Yeah, kind of a drill like a no, I almost said fee fi fo fum like hi ho off to work we go kind of a thing, but a little deeper, I guess. I guess that
Yeah,
was more of a work song.
it
This isn't
is.
really a work song. That's amazing. How long did it take him to do that?
So he got back to me within a couple of weeks.
Wow,
I'd
that's
say
awesome.
two, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah, he just like
Yeah.
listened to what I made and made it. So I didn't write notes down or like, there's not actually like a sheet of music or anything for it. I
No,
just sang what came to my head, and he
he ran with
listened
it.
to it and ran with it and sang it. Yeah, and then I found someone that creates cartoons and videos and stuff, and had them create like a little music video,
That's
the
amazing.
cartoon to go in the background, and we put the song on top of the cartoon, and kids love it.
That's amazing.
It
And
it, sell- it sells really well in like vendor events or anywhere a child comes up and all I have to say is there's a little cartoon in this book. Kids are like, oh, I
what?
want that book.
That is, you should, I mean, when you do live events, do you have like do you have the QR code hanging down like on your table?
I do. I
Nice.
do.
Nice.
I
That's
have,
what I would
I
do.
use, so I read the book, and then when the QR code comes up, I always tell, okay, this is the song. And I have like a big tablet display
Mm,
on a tripod next to me, and
yeah.
I'll click play and I'll turn the pages and do this thing along in the book for the
Mm,
kids, and they
That
love it.
That is so cool. That is so where are you doing the events at? I saw you said you're pretty active in your church. You do like church events stuff like, or farmers markets or where are you selling that?
Yeah. I so usually I try to do regional things. I find things that are more local to me. I have more
Yeah.
traction, more success than selling the book. And I have three small kids, so it is not fun to travel.
Are you traveling with them and selling it with them?
I will,
Oh
yeah.
my
They
goodness.
come,
Actually, they will probably be your best advocates right
right?
now. Because usually they don't have any fear. My younger boys, my boys are wanting to come with me to there's a yearly summer sale in where we live, and one
Yeah.
of them loves the idea of writing, making his own books. So he wants to come and basically be my sales guy. I'm
Oh,
like, okay, he has no fear. It's a little scary with
yeah.
people. And the other one's more, and the other one's kind of pushy. So I'm like, if I bring the two of you, you guys can kind of play good cop, bad cop and get people over here. So I assume your kids will probably like, no, you got to come check out my mom's book. That's pretty
They
awesome.
totally do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they really do.
Yes.
My son will actually he will just straight up, are you going to buy a copy of this book? Like he'll just ask people, are you going to buy this? Because you should buy this.
This needs to happen yesterday. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. It can be challenging to negotiate with them. It's hard to say no
yeah,
to a cute little kid. And especially if you got
right.
a fun book to back it up, it's even better.
Yeah,
That's so amazing. Well, it's good you do local stuff. Yeah, going beyond that gets a little more challenging. And with kids, it's just so much harder to find the time to go out of the house. And I always feel super guilty about, taking a weekend to go sell. It's like, but
yeah,
they're at home and this is kind of lame that I have to just sit here and like,
yeah.
it should be fun. But if you can take them with you and they can help you out, I mean, now it's a family activity.
Oh yeah. And I go to libraries too, local
Good.
libraries. I've gone to like several of my local libraries and they always come because my kids, if they're my backup. If for some reason there aren't any kids that show up to the library event, then I have my children there.
Fair
Luckily,
enough.
I have had a lot of people show up to
That's
most
awesome.
of them.
That's
Um,
great.
and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I have like a gnome photo booth that I put up. That's the Gnomes of Fibberton.
That's
It's
so
a big
smart.
tunnel. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they can pose, and I have outfits where they can dress up as a gnome
Yes.
in the
Yes,
photo booth.
yes, yes.
So
Oh yeah, you
and
got
little coloring pages from the book and
oh,
all scavenger hunt. Yeah,
oh, you can do so much with this. There's just, I mean,
yeah,
the kids' books are so fun because the energy kids give off with stuff like this is just, it's hard to say no to. And then along with that, like parents, grandparents are going to want to buy these for them. I know getting into
yeah.
like what do you call it? Book fairs. Book fairs, or
Mhm.
if you're able to do that with this, that'd be really cool too. If you're
We
able to
did
jump in.
Miami.
What's that?
I went to Miami book
Ooh,
fair
dang, dang.
actually. Yeah,
I was even thinking school book fairs, but that's even bigger.
yeah,
That's even bigger. That's
yeah.
you got
I
it. How did that go?
fun, lots of fun,
Good.
very intense. It was 3 days long. Had to stay there for like 8 to 10 hours a day.
Oh yeah.
And you had to man the booth the whole time. And I actually had my children and my husband with me.
Well, as long as you had some
And so
backup.
they would go back and forth to the hotel though.
Okay.
Like they weren't
Okay.
there all day.
Okay.
So it was me most of the time. But it was super fun. What an
Good.
atmosphere Miami is. I'm in Virginia,
Yeah.
Northern Virginia, close to like DC area.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
very
That's really
different
cool.
world down in Miami.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine. I have only been to Florida a couple times, so I'm not sure. I love to do some more of those. That's amazing. That's good. So you planning on doing it again?
Maybe if I have the next book out.
Okay, copy
Because
that.
it was a trek. It was a lot of work
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
to go down to with the kids and stuff, and it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it
I
was how many days? 3 days?
3 full days.
Three full
Yeah.
days? Yeah. I mean, you could
Yeah.
marry it with a trip or something if
Right.
really want to. Something at the end to relax after, hopefully, and that way you're done with all the
Yeah.
work and now you can hopefully play. Vacation with kids can be a little tiresome though. So It's kind of a sometimes it's better to
Yes.
go home afterwards. Yeah, no, that's awesome. When do you plan
Right.
on? Yeah, it's like I need a vacation from my vacation. With
Yes.
those kiddos, they're just so active and want to go do things. When do you plan on
Yeah.
having your next book out, whether it be the Tunnel one or the Christmas one? When do you hope to get them out?
I really summer I would say by July or August, I want to have one of
Tunnel
them
one.
out.
Yeah, get the Tunnel
I
one
think
out
the tunnel one.
for yeah, get the Tunnel one out for summertime and then Christmas one out for Christmas.
Yeah,
Marketing would
that
say
would
that's
be
probably a
great.
good idea. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But
If I
and
can wing it, I
I
would
think,
try.
yeah, I think you could. You got your system down. You got your illustrator, and then if you ever come up,
Hmm.
you could do another reiteration of your song. So I mean, put that. At least you could put the same
I
one in the book.
Well, I was planning on doing different ones, and
Yeah.
that's also kind of the hang up. I want to do a song in each of the books,
Hmm.
so I'm gonna have to come up with songs. And unfortunately, my the guy that I found on Fiverr who sung the song for the Gnomes of Fibberton passed away. So I'm gonna have to find something different, someone different to
Darn.
sing.
Darn. Well, I
Mm,
mean, at least you got one. It's sad, but at least you got one, and
yeah,
there's so much more talent out there. You'll definitely find somebody.
there's so many.
So
Yeah,
many, so
Fiverr's
much talent.
amazing.
Yeah. I've heard. There's a lot of crazy, a lot of good people out there looking for work,
Yeah,
and good talent, some great talent out there. And you can find
yeah,
someone local too to work with. That'd be kind of nice. That'd be kind of cool.
yeah. If I could,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. Not everyone's advertising, unfortunately.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
on
Yeah.
there, they're looking. But I'm sure people are very curious as to where they can get the Gnomes of Fibberton. So where can they get copies of your book?
So it is available on Walmart,
Ooh,
on Amazon, and on our website, Fibberton.com. It's also, you can even buy it through our Facebook page,
oh,
The Gnomes of
fabulous.
Fibberton.
Excellent,
So
excellent. And they can find you locally. You said you're out in Virginia. Hopefully, if they're in Virginia area, they can go see you maybe at libraries, perhaps.
they could. Yeah. The
Hmm.
next time I will be at my local library in June again in Front
Okay.
Royal, Virginia.
Fabulous. Well, excellent. It sounds like a really fun book, and I actually wouldn't mind getting myself a copy for my kids. Maybe they'll learn how to help be a little more honest and clean up after themselves and do their chores a little better without me asking them. But beggars can't be choosers. Well, anyway, but Becky, thank you very much for coming today and sharing about your book. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was
Yeah.
fun.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoy this. Go check out The Gnomes of Fibberton by author Becky Bell. It sounds like a fabulous tale, and you can go get a wonderful little story and a song involved. So it's a two for one deal. Pretty good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, stay mighty and keep reading.